The Shoreline by Robert M. Drake. Sometimes you feel like you've spent your whole life planning for a future that isn't certain, chasing a love that doesn't exist, and worrying about a past that doesn't even matter. And this is what your life has turned into. Stressing over the unknown, overthinking about people you've never even met, and dwelling in moments that drown you instead of the ones that push you toward the shore. Good morning and welcome to this Sunday's North Chapel virtual service, where I'm greeting you from the Jersey Shore on this day, the 20th of June, Father's Day, 2021. This is my childhood home. I am standing on the beach that I grew up on. And I've come home to finally hug my dad after a long COVID pause from such things, and to enjoy all the healing and soothing and restorative energy that the ocean brings me. I hope that by sharing this day with all of you, that you can sense and feel some of that in your own life. Wherever you're joining us from this day, your kitchen table, your garden, your backyard, or wherever you find your sanctuary in this life, welcome. We are so glad you have joined us. I hope that you and yours are well, that you're enjoying a lovely weekend, and my wishes to all dads and dad figures for a glorious day, and gratitude for all you do for the people who love you. I'm going to leave you with one more poem by Robert Drake from his book, Falling Toward the Moon. This is called After Tomorrow. After tomorrow, a new year starts. After tomorrow, a new opportunity arises. After tomorrow, a new version of you is born. Take what you've learned this year and heal from it. Grow from it, and understand how beautiful it is to reach this point, to stand and inhale the life you've been granted. Let this new year be your year. Let it be the second chance you've been wanting to take. Let it be the answers you've been looking for. Let this new year consume you. Let it guide you, and let it give you the hope you need to move forward. After tomorrow, it begins, and you must know how only the best is yet to come. Thank you again for joining us this day. Wishing you all good things, and please join in singing a most appropriate opening hymn, Do Both Home. I'm Mary Jean Taylor, so glad you're here this day.
Hello, my name is Laura Foley. I'm here back in Pomfret in the mystic woods, thrush-filled woods, and I wanted to read you a couple of two poems that address this month of June, which is Pride Month. And this first one, I wrote it after hearing a talk by Abdi Noor Iftin at our church a couple years ago. After I attend a talk by the Somali refugee, migrating south for my annual holiday, I'm at ease on the bus to the ferry, where I will cross a wide bay, relax at the sea. Wheels rumble beneath me, landscapes unfold like a dream of plenty. Yellow lilies in a field, gardens rich with eggplants, tomatoes, raspberries, reminding me of home, where my love, a woman to whom I'm legally married, awaits my return. Soon I will breathe salt sea air, while winds from another continent ruffle my hair like one beloved, as I delight in ocean surf, gulls raucous calling, the freedom of movement others crave or die for. Marriage. We live much of our days in separate places. I tap maple trees and boil sap while she bakes. Then, at the one table we've made, we pour sweet, hot gold over oven-warm cakes.
Good morning and good Sunday. I hope that this new day finds you well. My name is Leon Dunkley, and I am honored to serve as minister here at North Universalist Chapel Society, or North Chapel in Woodstock, Vermont. Today is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, everyone. Today is Sunday, June the 20th, and the title of this morning's reflection is Beautifuler Things. The reflection is about finding higher resolution in photography, in spirit, and in life. Fathers and their children don't always understand each other. Sometimes tensions between them don't get resolved. But there is a love that holds them, a love that holds us all. There is a love that surpasses common understanding, a love that's bigger than us. Beautifuler Things is about this kind of love, the love that asks us to engage. It's not about petty stuff, it's really about something else. It's about slowing down enough to see and to hear the beautiful songs of life and to dance with them without even taking any lessons. So to all souls I say, good morning, it is good to be together. How long does it take to see a flower? How long does it take to learn its dance? My dad was a decent dancer. He more than held his own, but he was no Fred Astaire, if you know what I mean. He taught me all he could in the time that we had together, and I'm grateful for that. More than the choreography, though. My dad taught me how to keep joy underfoot, how to step so soft and lightly in my spirit. And I'm so glad, because what he taught me helped me to understand the dancing in the old movies that I would see on TV sometimes. Quietly departing from the party scene in the heart of the city, Fred Astaire and Sid Charisse, dressed up all in white, secretly stole away into the darkness. They retreated from the light. As the music and the movement and the party went on without them, they withdrew without warning, without a single word, and no one noticed. And once away, they told a story, and they danced to it. Dancing in the dark, until the tune ends, we're dancing in the dark, and it soon ends. We're waltzing in a wonder of why we're here. Time hurries by. We're here and we're gone, looking for the light of a new love to brighten up the night. I have you, love, and we can face the music together. Dancing in the dark. We first heard this tune in 1931 in a Broadway show called The Bandwagon. It was written by Arthur Schwartz and Howard Dietz back in the day, and this song was very popular. It's been recorded many times since by the orchestras of Artie Shaw and Stuart Foster in 1941 and 44, respectively. It's been recorded by Art Tatum on solo piano 10 years later. It was recorded by Julian Cannonball Adderley and Miles Davis on an album called Something Else that was way back in 1958. Something Else. It's a really wonderful album. Adderley and Davis were inspired by the singing of Sarah Vaughan, who recorded this same song 2 years earlier, and Johnny Mathis recorded it in 1965, which was the year of my birth, and another 10 years later, Barbara Cook performed it, hauntingly, before a full house at Carnegie Hall. Dancing in the Dark was the title track of the 1987 album by Sonny Rollins. The list goes on and on. Students at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst did it a cappella last year, virtually, of course, because of COVID. We can't let this song go. My favorite version of this song was when Bird did it, when Charlie Parker did it with strings for Norman Granz in 1950. Charlie Parker was nicknamed Bird. They called him that because he played so beautifully, because he played with such grace and with such eloquence in such difficult days, in such dark days. Charlie Parker was very wise. He respected the darkness. He saw the beauty in it, wordlessly. Every bird I know respects the darkness. They welcome it with open arms. They let the darkness come until the morning. Human beings are different, generally. So often we fight the night and its darkness. We resist it with our streetlights and our tapered candles. We resist with lanterns and with our lamps all trimmed and burning. We resist with the fires around which we gather sometimes, looking for the light of a new love. Birds are different. They let the darkness come. They welcome it for all of its beauty, grace, and eloquence. Birds respect the darkness. In fact, they are grateful for it. The darkness offers time to rest. The darkness helps us to mark the passage of time. And time is very important to every bird I know and to all of us, especially this morning. So I ask the question again, how long does it take to see a flower? It's sort of a riddle. How many days and nights do flowers need to show their gifts? How will we answer these questions? Scientifically? Is that how we should begin? I mean, we could say that from seed, a flower needs at least 3 days to sprout. We could say that leaf development starts around day 6 and takes 3 weeks, after which begins the blossom stage. And so in the neighborhood of 30 days, a flower begins to bloom. We could say all of that, and according to the science of flowers, we'd be right. But it doesn't make sense that it should take so long to see the beauty of a flower. Cameras can see this beauty in a fraction of this time, in a fraction of a second, actually. Shutter speeds are fast. In fact, I took this picture last week in my car on the way home from Hanover. I had stopped at a traffic light, and I had a moment or two, so I picked up my phone and I selected the camera option. I pointed and I clicked, and voila, there it was, the almost instantaneous beauty of a flower. And the quality is good enough. The color is good and the composition. It's a decent photo, and if I was going for even greater detail, and if I had a different camera and a different lens, I could schedule the shutter to stay open much longer. And I could narrow the aperture, squinting the eye of the camera, as it were, and changing the shutter speed accordingly to get the right effect. It's what Ansel Adams did when he took the picture at Half Dome. Do you know the picture I'm talking about? I have it right here. It's beautiful resolution. It's incredible detail. Ansel Adams held the shutter open for 5 whole seconds when he took that photo. And just look what happened in the slow shutter speed, the gorgeous detail and the resolution. So according to the science of photography, it doesn't take 30 days to see such beauty. Not even close. It only takes a fraction of that time, a fraction of a second. And if you're really particular, like Ansel Adams was, it takes 5 seconds tops. But that doesn't seem right either, that it should take so short a time to see beauty. Maybe there's a sweet spot in between. Maybe we can strike a balance between these two extremes, or maybe there is a resolution that is altogether different, somehow outside the boundaries of time, somehow more defined by timelessness. Now, I believe that when we find it, we will be able to answer the question that is before us. How long does it take to see the beauty of a flower? Because the answer to this question lies at the still point in between two sciences, the science of flowers and the science of photography. And because the answer to this question may lie beyond them both. Some questions can only be answered by the wisdom of the heart, by the wisdom of the heart that is inclined towards gratitude, by the wisdom of the soul that is biased by grace. A man named Louis Schwartzberg gave a TED Talk on this subject, of flower gratitude photography. It's not a real subject, of course, and not in the academic sense, but he gave a talk on the subject nonetheless. I thought his words were wise. He said, "Hi, everybody. I graduated from UCLA and moved to Northern California. When I was younger, I lived in a town called Elk on the Mendocino coast. I didn't have a phone or a TV. Life was good back then. I'd go to the general store for a cup of coffee. I didn't have much money, just a sense of wonder and a sense of time. So I started shooting time-lapse photography. It would take me a month to shoot a 4-minute roll of film because that's all I could afford. And I've been shooting time-lapse flowers continuously, nonstop, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for over 30 years. To see them move is a dance that I will not tire of. Their beauty immerses us with color and taste and touch, and they supply a third of the food that we eat. I think this photographer is wise. I wonder what he'd say if we'd ask him how long does it take to see the beauty of a flower. I wonder if he would say that it takes 30 years, because he's been doing it for that long. With my own eyes, or with the eyes of those who came before, I see this beauty. With my own heart, or with the heart of those who came before, I know its joy, and dance its steps, and know its wonders. What breath is it? Whose breath? What breath carries that sweet scent of the flower and reminds us of the beauty of life? What wind is it that allows them to dance when they are alone or in a crowd? Fred Astaire knows the answers to these questions, knows the joy beneath his feet, knows the joy that my father taught me. Not that I knew enough to say thank you at the time, Dad. Fred Astaire knows the joy beneath our feet is the spirit of life that calls us on, the wind beneath our wings. Louis Schwartzberg knows this as well, and he continues, beauty and seduction are nature's tools for survival because we protect what we fall in love with. Let's fall in love with life, shall we? Beauty and seduction open our hearts and make us realize that we are part of nature and that we are not separate from it. Louis Schwartzberg was working on a project that he called Happiness Revealed. This project offers some perspective and some sage advice on a sacred choice, the choice between passively viewing life and actively engaging with it and really exploring it. Happiness Reveals offers perspective and sage advice on the broader topic of gratitude, that station within us that keeps us dancing. The first speaker in this project offered such beauty, grace, and eloquence, encouraged us to actively engage with life because television is make-believe, the passive engagement in life. It entertains us, but it does not expand the imagination like life does. It doesn't invite us to go deeper. You know, I'm having trouble capturing what it is the speaker actually tried to say. So if you don't mind, I'm just gonna have her speak for herself and I'll show it to you. I have the clip. So why don't we just listen to this for one moment.
When I watch TV, it's just some shows that are pretend. And when you explore, you get more imagination than you already had. And when you get more imagination, it makes you want to go deeper in, so you can get more and see beautiful things. Like the path. If it's a path, it could lead you to a beach or something, and it could be beautiful.
I think that our speaker is very wise. I love how she comes as close as she possibly can to picking her nose when she's delivering such beautiful and deep wisdom. The deep wisdom of beautifuler things, the deep wisdom of higher resolution. May we all hold space enough in our daily lives for such a possibility. I had my mind blown the other day. Or the other night, I'm not sure how best to express it, because the darkness had come and the birds had long been silent, waiting for the dawn. The birds kept love alive by singing, and so do we. They know that, and we can learn from them. The birds sing and the flowers sing, and there are perfect reasons why. The birds and the flowers sing for the presence of the beauty of the birds and the flowers sing for the presence of beautifuler things that keep love alive, that keep us dancing. Children understand this easily, and they teach us. They teach us how to explore life for ourselves. They teach us how to expand the imagination and how to re-engage with one another after times of solitude. For the past 15 months or so, we've been all on TV, encountering one another, engaging with one another in only 2 dimensions, by way of cell phones and computer screens and the internet. This time is coming to an end, but I feel so awkward because I've forgotten how to eat in public, and I have to start showering more often. And I can no longer assume that no one will see my pants. I may need some coaching about how I re-enter into real life. We are entering into a new day and returning to old ways, but the whole wide world is different, and so are we. There is so much to be rebuilt, and I want to do so wisely. I want to be guided by better baseline assumptions, guided by higher resolutions and greater possibilities. Impossibly early in the morning, before the new day knows its name, as the first lights of the sun slowly gather on the eastern horizon, the birds who had long been silent begin their singing. I used to think that this was just pretty, but I've learned from an interesting friend that this singing is much more than this. A man named Charles Kellogg, who studied birds very much when he was young, had an interesting thing about when birds sing in the morning and at any time of day. He said, "Most people who listen to the singing of birds fail to notice that songbirds sing in the ecstatic mode and not in the lyrical mode." Charles Kellogg may be corny and quirky and esoteric, but what he says is deeply meaningful to me. He asks us to think deeply. He asks us to consider that when birds sing, they are always ecstatic, always exclaiming their great witness of the world at the top of their lungs. There was an old science fiction movie. There was a conversation between an old man and a young man. And the young man was interested in the old because he had been a statesman. He'd been a counselor and a leader. And the young man asked the older man if there had been a point to his counsel, a point to his leadership of the community. And the old man said, responding grimly, no, there is no point. Old men like me don't bother making points. There's no point. And the young man, who was still wise about the ways to save the whole wide world, said, "Do you think that's why that there are no young men on the council that you lead?" And the old man turns to the young. Impressed, he smiles and says, "Good point. Just look at that high resolution." As younger men, as sons, and of course more broadly as human beings, it makes good sense to scream at the top of our lungs from the highest mountains. As older men, as fathers, and once again more broadly as human beings, it makes good sense to sing from the top of mountains at the top of our lungs. The birds are singing. This is how they've learned to say thank you to this life. They are singing all around us, and so can we. In gratitude and in ecstasy. How better to say yes? How better to say thank you to this life and our exploration of it, our active engagement with it, come what may. How long does it take to see a flower? I don't know, but you may have an answer to the question. However long it takes us, we will hear the flowers singing and we will see them dancing like Sid Charisse and Fred Astaire, dancing in the dark until the tune ends, waltzing in a wonder of why we're here. Happy Father's Day, everyone. Keep the joy beneath your feet. Offer the best to life, and know that the best is yet to come. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.